it's kind of amazing, isn't it, that in our teachings, if one really looks, I think every tradition will have teachings that include the body in some way. You know, in the Vedic traditions and all that, they had, they spoke about Kundalini, in the Upanishads, and the body and the chakras, and I don't know what they called them, if they call them chakras, but it's been historically, it's in so many ancient texts, how to free up the body so that we can be we're meant to be a temple for spirit. And somehow we've left out the humanity piece, because, well, there's a time for everything, how about that? So you can't ever leave it out too long, you know. And some people will come from the other direction. They'll be very facile in their bodies through yoga and maybe qigong and different things like that, right? Even dance, and they they're in touch with what's happening inside, and then maybe even psychologically very adept, and right, and but then they need to lean over time if they want to, spiritually speaking, to be integrated. They have to lean over and then realize that they're spirit and that we're essentially free, and all the things that you've already realized. So it's just kind of like this, the integration of the two create a Christ. Yeah. Resurrected, resurrected as that. So, everybody here will have one area where you've been more comfortable and maybe more adept in your growth, and you want to give yourself credit for that, okay? Like you know how to live life, you know how to do things, maybe you know how to feel into your body, or maybe you really are a beautiful meditator and can get so still and unmoving. And then the other side will be calling you. That's the way it is if you really want a full bloom awakening, which I recommend. And it's interesting too that sometimes we'll make inroads, like with spiritual speaking, we'll be opening up and make inroads into knowing that we're that, and then something will hold it back, and it's because there's some psychological or emotional or physical thing that needs to be open to. There's if one thinks about it, if anyone has been into Kundalini, if you were to go from that tradition, it would be that the Shakti, which is divine intelligence that is within each person, you don't have to believe this. It's just, you can just follow along here. This is ancient Vedic knowledge, okay, that I'm applying to this example. That it lives, this intelligence lives in us, and it's spirit that wants to wake up within the human. And so it's going to do its best, and it's going to go up the channels, the nadis, along the spine. It's very esoteric, but it's not necessarily complicated. It's just esoteric, and it wakes up these different centers, and we can call them chakras. And if there's a blockage, it'll bump up against it. Very similarly to this other thing that I was speaking about, we can open and there'll be like this blockage or something, and we'll be stopped. And we're meant to work on our relationships and the way that we communicate, for instance.
Blow its way right through it.
And grace can happen and can blow through, meaning that we can, without having to do a ton of work, maybe it's a little blast from grace will happen and we bust through. but other times it wants us to do the work because we learn so much through it. If we were just handed awakening over on a platter, right? It wouldn't be inhabiting all the different levels of you in the way that you are. It would just be like this. Well, actually, it is in you. It's already awake. Yeah. But it wants to wake up through everything that you contain inside. It wants to be informed by it. Because I believe, honestly, that this is the way that God or divine intelligence learns about itself.
That's right, yeah.
It's growing in its capacity in gaining understanding through each one of us. Because we don't know it, but we're that. Each person here. So it's like you're that as you are, even confused, even not really, even when you're on a journey. And you as that is on the journey. I mean, wouldn't you want that if you were divine intelligence? Wouldn't you want to just like keep experiencing and growing and understanding and pushing the ceiling of what's known? Because each person here is a universe. You know? What you contain inside is so unique, and no one else has that. So we're all like these individual, there's supposedly billions of universes, infinite number. Well, that's true here too. And so we're meant to keep growing in understanding as that until it's a done deal. And it doesn't want to leave out the body. And, I think that that's a... well, I don't know originally where it came from or how it arose. I'm guessing it's just natural. If you are a yogi from whatever era, whatever tradition, and you're thinking, there's got to be something more than just this, I'm going to discover, I'm going to explore. And you go in and you discover, oh my God, there's so much emptiness here. There's really no me here. And I can see why there would be a teaching that would arise that would be transcendent in nature. Because immanence is where people are mostly stuck. Immanent meaning being here. This is immanent, we're here. So we already know this, although a lot of people are not fully landed in being here, most people. But let's just start with say that people are more here than in the transcendent for the most part. I'm not talking about disassociated, I'm talking about transcendent. So, a teaching would arise of how to free yourself of imagining this is all there is. Right? And so you do a whole beautiful teaching. Well, we're spirit and it's empty and all this stuff. But I don't know how it came out to be that was, and spiritually speaking, in a lot of traditions, it was valued more than being here. That's where the mistake came. Because you cannot leave behind God immanent. God immanent wants to be illuminated and totally realize its potential here. So, so I think all those eras of being in the teachers that were in the transcendent, they played a part, and I'm very grateful to them. I mean, my goodness. And they really laid the groundwork down for us to be able to transcend more easily. It's like it's in the gestalt, in the zeitgeist, that awakening to the beyond is possible, and there's already a path. There are all these pathways to do it. And we're here now, and the world is in trouble. The earth is needing us to not be disassociated or living in the transcendent. It needs us to be immanent, awake and immanent, right? So that's why these integrated teachings are really important right now, and that's why it's like I think there's so many voices that are speaking to this. Yeah. And guess what? It's actually harder. So it's like we've progressed in consciousness, and we are asked to now know what we are and to know that now here as this in this moment. That's how I see it.